I just went through Walmart's secret list and found the items that are so cheap you'll think the price tag is a mistake. You're paying double just for a name printed on the box, while the shelf right next to it has the same exact thing for way less, and that's just the beginning. You'd be awesome if you subscribed and liked this video. On Great Value paper towels. You know that moment when you spill a cup of coffee and 2 sheets of the name brand towel already tear apart halfway through, leaving little bits of paper stuck to the counter that are harder to clean up than the coffee itself. That doesn't happen with Great Value. This roll is woven thick, 2-ply, soaks up liquid fast without leaving lint behind, and holds strong enough to wipe grease off a gas stove without needing a second sheet like some cheaper towels require. Each roll gives you about 130 sheets, enough to get through a busy week without a midweek run to the store. The price runs almost 40% lower than the familiar name brands on the shelf, while the sheet count per roll is nearly identical, sometimes even a little higher. A name brand roll usually sells around $1.58, while Great Value runs about 94 cents for the same amount of paper, and that gap times 8 rolls a month already adds up to over $5 on this one item alone. A family of 4 typically goes through about 8 rolls a month once you count wiping down the table, the stove, and clean up after dinner. If each name brand roll costs $1 more than Great Value, multiply that over a year, and you're easily past $100, enough to cover a summer electric bill. Plenty of people have left reviews saying they switched for good after wiping up fried chicken grease with just 1 sheet, something the cheaper roll they used before couldn't manage without going through 3 sheets. You can stock up a whole case in the garage without feeling guilty like you would buying the pricier brand, because you know the quality holds steady season after season, batch after batch, still as thick as the first roll you bought months back. If there's one household item worth switching today to save money without sacrificing anything, this is it. No need to think twice, no need to test it out first, just toss it in the cart on your next trip. 2. Mainstays Chef's Knife. A good kitchen knife should slice clean through a tomato skin without mashing the flesh underneath, and that's exactly what you get with the Mainstays knife. At upscale cookware stores, a knife with a similar steel blade can cost 3, even 4 times as much, enough to buy a whole set of pieces if you go with Mainstays instead of the pricier brand. For example, an 8-inch chef's knife from a well-known culinary brand often runs over $80, while a Mainstays knife of the same blade size sits at about a quarter of that, leaving you enough left over to grab a cutting board and a sharpening stone too. You're paying for the name stamped on the box, not necessarily for the sharpness your hand actually feels when slicing an onion or breaking down a chicken. The Mainstays blade is forged to hold its edge, sits comfortably in your grip thanks to a well-balanced handle, and doesn't slip when your hands are wet from prepping vegetables or rinsing fish under the tap. For anyone cooking every day, this is a tool you actually use, not a showpiece sitting untouched in a drawer all year. You don't need to sharpen it constantly like some cheaper knives that let you down after just a few weeks. Usually a light touch-up every 2 to 3 months is enough if you're using a wood cutting board instead of a hard plastic one. Compared to spending $100 or more on a well-known brand's knife set just to use it a few times and stash it away for fear of dulling the blade, this knife pays for itself many times over because it gets used for real, sharpened for real, and holds up for real year after year. This is something even a picky home cook has a hard time criticizing, even someone who's stayed loyal to expensive brands for years. If you think this list is all small kitchen items, wait for the next one. It'll change how you look at the lighting corner of your house. 3. Great Value LED light bulbs. You replace a bulb with the name brand for almost double the price, then realize the brightness looks no different from the Great Value bulb hanging in the next room. Same warm white light and the same steady performance when switched on and off repeatedly. Walmart's LED bulbs give off even light, don't flicker when paired with a dimmer switch, and fit most standard sockets around your house from the living room to the bathroom. A 9-watt Great Value bulb puts out light equal to an old 60-watt incandescent, about 800 lumens, plenty bright for reading at night without needing an extra desk lamp. while its power draw is only about a seventh of the old bulb, and that shows up clearly on your monthly electric bill if your house has around 20 light fixtures running each evening. While a 9-watt LED bulb from a familiar lighting brand sells for $3.98 a piece, Great Value runs about $1.98, and if you buy the 4-pack, the price drops even further. The bulb lasts for years when used at the recommended wattage, meaning you're not climbing on a chair to change bulbs every few months like before, especially in those hard-to-reach spots like hallways or stairwells with high ceilings. For a house with dozens of light fixtures, from the living room to the hallway, from desk lamps to backyard lights, switching everything over to this saves you a solid amount in the first year alone, and that savings grows each year after thanks to the bulb's long lifespan. Plenty of shoppers have shared on home forums that after switching all 12 bulbs in the house to this kind, their winter electric bill dropped noticeably compared to the year before with old compact bulbs. This isn't a flashy item to brag about to the neighbors, but it's a quiet investment that keeps money in your pocket for the long haul. You'll wonder why you didn't switch sooner instead of continuing to pay extra for a familiar name on the box. 4. Walmart rechargeable AA and AAA batteries. You've bought whole boxes of disposable batteries for the TV remote, the wall clock, and the backup flashlight, then tossed them after a few weeks once they weakened and slowed down the remote's response. Walmart's rechargeable AA and AAA batteries change all that spending completely. For under $2 a pack, you can recharge them hundreds of times before they actually wear out, usually around 500 charge cycles, roughly 9 years if you charge about once a week, meaning one pack can replace dozens of boxes of disposable batteries you would have bought over the years. Each AA battery typically holds around 2,400 milliamp hours, enough to run your AC remote for months straight before needing a recharge, while the smaller AAA still holds about 800 milliamp hours, plenty to keep a wall clock running for a whole year. Put simply, if a family buys an average of 4 packs of disposable batteries a month for small household devices, the yearly cost easily tops $40, while 4 rechargeable batteries cost under $8 up front and practically nothing in the years after. Compared to constantly buying disposable batteries every month for kids' toys, the AC remote, the kitchen scale, the savings after a year are enough to buy a few more household items without a second thought. For families with a lot of battery-powered devices, switching to rechargeables means no more digging through drawers at midnight looking for a spare battery when the flashlight suddenly dies during a power outage. The included charger is simple too. Plug it in overnight for about 4 to 6 hours, and it's ready to go for the whole next day with no complicated steps or long instructions to read. Some longtime users even keep these batteries in a handheld camera for weekend camping trips and say the charge holds for months of non-use, way beyond what they expected. This is a small item with a big impact on your monthly budget, and there's really no reason to keep buying disposables when this option sits right there on the shelf at such an easy price. 5. Ozark Trail Cast Iron Skillet. A good cast iron skillet can stay with you for 20 years if cared for properly, and the Ozark Trail Skillet proves that without the sky-high price of the fancy boxed cast iron on the upscale cookware shelf. The thick cast iron surface holds heat evenly, perfect for searing a steak or frying eggs in the morning without burning one side or cooling down fast the moment food hits the pan. Compared to the premium cast iron brands often featured on cooking shows, where a 10-inch skillet can run close to $100, Ozark Trail costs less than half that, while heat retention and durability come out nearly the same when tested side by side, searing the same thick cut of beef. You don't have to worry about a nonstick coating flaking off after a few months like some cheap nonstick pans that leave you frustrated finding bits of coating in your food, because solid cast iron has no coating to flake off in the first place. The more you use it, the more oil you cook with, the more natural shine and non-stick quality it builds up. That's the nature of cast iron that no industrial nonstick pan can copy. Plenty of reviewers say this skillet works fine on a campfire or in a high-heat oven without any damage, something regular non-stick pans can't handle past 400 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the kind of tool you buy once and never think about replacing, as long as you're willing to hand wash and dry it right after use instead of tossing it in the dishwasher. If you're looking for a durable skillet for everyday cooking without spending a fortune, this is a hard one to beat, even against skillets costing 2 or 3 times as much. 3 more items about entertainment and health are coming up, and you'll wish you'd known about them sooner. 6. Onn wireless Bluetooth earbuds. You used to think good wireless earbuds had to cost a few $100s to be reliable until you tried Onn earbuds from Walmart on a whim out of curiosity. For under $25, these earbuds hold a stable connection within about 30 feet, plenty of range to move around the house doing chores without worrying about signal drops, and clear enough sound for a morning walk or a podcast while cleaning without cutting out mid-play like some cheaper earbuds tend to. The battery lasts a full day before needing a recharge, usually around 5 to 6 hours of continuous listening plus a few extra charges from the case, and the case charges fully in about an hour and 30 minutes, faster than a lot of mid-range earbuds that need close to 2 hours to fill up. The charging case is compact enough to fit in a jacket pocket or handbag when you're out. Compared to well-known earbud brands costing 10 times as much, some running up to $250, the difference mostly comes down to the name and a few advanced features like active noise cancellation that most everyday users don't really need. For older adults who just want to hear phone calls or their favorite shows clearly without dealing with wires around the house, these are worth trying before spending big on a familiar brand. One shopper shared that she bought these to listen to audiobooks every night before bed, and after 6 months of using them almost nightly, the battery still holds its original charge, which surprised her even more than the price. You could buy 2 backup pairs for the price of 1 premium set, 1 for everyday use, and 1 spare in case the other runs out of charge or gets lost, and that sounds a lot more sensible than betting a large sum on a single product. 7. Athletic crew socks. The socks you slip on every morning rarely get a second thought, but this is the item where the price gap is easiest to see on this whole list. Walmart's athletic crew socks cost about a third of what the big sportswear brands charge in specialty athletic stores, where a single pair can run close to $12, while a 6-pack here costs the same or less than 1 pair from that other brand. The cotton blend soaks up sweat well, and the elastic cuff fits snug without sliding down your heel during a long walk or hours of standing in the kitchen cooking dinner for the family. For anyone who walks daily or plays weekend sports, buying a few packs of affordable socks to rotate through makes a lot more sense than holding on to a few expensive pairs until they wear thin at the heel and you still can't bring yourself to toss them. You don't have to worry about durability either. The stitching holds up, and after about 50 washes, they still keep their shape, with no sagging at the cuff like some cheap socks that get annoying after just a few washes. One customer wrote a review saying she bought the 12-pack for her family of 4, and after 3 months of washing every week, only 1 pair started thinning at the heel while the rest still looked new. This is a small item, but tally it up across a whole family over a year, a few pairs per person each season, and the price difference adds up, potentially topping $100 compared to buying all your socks from an expensive sportswear brand. There's no reason to pay extra just for a logo stitched on the cuff when the real-world quality barely differs. 8. Equate high-protein meal replacement shake. Rushing out the door before work, you don't have time to cook a full meal, and that's where the Equate shake comes in instead of leaving you hungry until lunch. Each bottle packs about 30 grams of protein and only around 200 calories, enough to keep you full until midday without loading up on extra energy you don't need. And the nutrition profile is nearly identical to the big brands you see advertised on TV with professional athletes in the commercials. An Equate bottle usually sells for about $1.28, while the same size bottle from the TV advertised brand can run up to $2.50, and that gap multiplied over 30 days a month is enough to buy nearly another 6-pack. For older adults who need daily protein but aren't big fans of eating a lot of red meat, or anyone with a packed schedule who needs a quick meal, this is a solid choice for keeping up the habit long term without spending too much each month, especially if you're drinking one daily rather than just occasionally. The variety of flavors from chocolate to vanilla keeps things from getting boring day after day, and some people even blend in a banana or ice for a weekend morning twist. Some folks assume the cheaper option would be lower quality, but the label on the bottle shows almost no real difference when compared side by side. Same calcium levels, same B vitamins that matter for middle-aged adults. If you're looking to keep up a high-protein diet without blowing your budget, this is worth trying this week instead of waiting any longer. If you think this list is running out of surprises, wait for the home repair item coming up. It'll change how you look at your tool drawer. 9. Hyper Tough 44-piece tool set. A screwdriver snapping at the tip right when you need to fix a loose kitchen cabinet hinge in a hurry. Anyone who's been through that knows the frustration of running next door to borrow a neighbor's tools late in the evening. The Hyper Tough 44-piece tool set solves that for under $20, packing all kinds of screwdriver bits, small wrenches, pliers, and basic hardware into a sturdy plastic case about 14 inches long, with clearly divided compartments so you can find what you need fast, and it fits neatly on a garage shelf without taking up much space. This isn't a set for a full-time car mechanic, but for the small repairs around the house like tightening a hinge, replacing a clock battery, hanging a shelf, or assembling new furniture, this set covers it, and then some. Compared to buying tools one at a time at a specialty hardware store where a single wrench alone can run close to $10 and a separate screwdriver set can hit $30, this full 44-piece set costs far less while giving you a much wider range of tools. For a household without a professional handyman around, this is a set worth keeping in the kitchen drawer or garage for whenever something unexpected comes up, from putting together a grandchild's Christmas toy to fixing a torn screen door hinge. One buyer shared he used this set to fully assemble a flat-pack bookshelf, and not a single tool was missing through the whole process, which surprised him given the low price. You'll be amazed how many years you struggled without the right tool simply because you didn't know about this set, and now small home repairs aren't such a hassle anymore. Walmart is also about to kick off its big seasonal summer sales, usually timed around Labor Day in early September. So if you're planning to buy any bigger household items, it might be worth waiting a few more weeks for a better price. 10. Mainstays Cast Aluminum Roasting Pan. You've probably seen a similar roasting pan on the shelf for $50 or more, packaged nicely under a familiar brand name you've seen in holiday commercials. The Mainstays Cast Aluminum Roasting Pan does the same job for a fraction of that price, and the results still come out evenly golden without burning at the edges even after sitting in the oven for over an hour. The cast aluminum heats up fast and evenly, runs about 14 inches long, fitting standard size ovens in most American kitchens, great for baking, roasting meat, or cooking a whole chicken on weekends when the family gathers. And the pan is large enough to fit a 12-pound turkey for Thanksgiving without switching to a different tray. The non-stick coating makes cleanup much easier compared to bare metal pans that need long soaking and hard scrubbing to get baked on grease off the bottom. For weekend family get-togethers, when you need to roast several things at once from vegetables to meat, a big sturdy pan like this saves a lot of time standing over the stove, and some people even use it to bake a whole tray of cookies for the grandkids over the weekend. You don't need to spend extra on pricier brands just to get evenly roasted results, since the materials and build between these pans aren't all that different when they're side by side in the same oven at the same temperature. This is a kitchen item worth investing in even if you don't cook often, because its durability far outweighs the price, and it'll still be sitting in your kitchen cabinet for years to come. 11. SuperTech Motor Oil. You bring your car in for an oil change and get hit with a service fee plus the price of name brand oil, adding up to nearly $100 for one visit, not counting the time spent waiting around the shop's lobby all morning. If you change your own oil at home with Walmart's SuperTech Motor Oil, it only costs about $17 to $20 for a 5-quart jug. enough for a full oil change on most mid-size sedans, while a larger SUV might need an extra half-quart topped off afterward, plus about $10 for an oil filter, and the whole job is done. A 5-quart jug of full synthetic oil from a familiar name brand usually costs over $35, almost double the price of SuperTech for the same certified API grade and the same recommended change interval. This oil meets all the performance standards for most everyday vehicles, keeping the engine running smoothly and protecting internal parts from wear over time, even when your car's running long distances in summer heat or towing a trailer on weekends. Plenty of experienced mechanics admit the difference between name brand oil and SuperTech mostly comes down to the name and the ad campaign, not the core chemical formula, which is tested against the same industry standards recognized by international oil certification bodies. For anyone who does their own car maintenance to save money, this is a solid choice for keeping up with regular oil changes every 5,000 to 7,000 miles, without stressing over the budget every time you head to the store for more oil. Over time, that price gap adds up across multiple oil changes a year, potentially topping $100 annually if your household has 2 cars, and that's a number worth rethinking your shopping habits over. 12. Mainstays kitchen utensils. Your kitchen drawer might still have a few wooden spoons from years back, warped and worn from overuse, some even cracked down the middle that you just can't bring yourself to throw out. Mainstays kitchen utensils, from spoons to serving ladles to whisks, usually run anywhere from $1 to $5 each, but the durability doesn't match that low price at all. You can feel how solid they are the moment you pick one up. A world away from the flimsy feel of some cheap plastic utensils that make you hesitant to trust them. The handle grip feels sturdy and doesn't crack after repeated runs through the dishwasher on high heat, and the utensil head is designed to work well with all kinds of pots and pans, including non-stick pans that scratch easily and require careful tool choices to avoid damaging the coating after a few months. The whisk alone has about 8 sturdy metal wires that whip eggs fast without bending out of shape after months of regular use. Compared to buying a fancy boxed premium utensil set for several times the price for the same function, with an 8-piece set from a well-known kitchen brand running up to $60, buying Mainstays pieces individually as you need them saves you a solid amount while still giving you everything necessary for the kitchen, from everyday soup making to weekend baking. One home cook shared that she's used the same Mainstays whisk for over 3 years of daily cooking, only replacing it after dropping it and breaking the handle, not from wear or a quality issue. This is the kind of product you can buy without overthinking it, since the risk, if you're not satisfied, is low when each piece only costs a few dollars, unlike dropping $100 on a premium cutlery set only to find out it doesn't feel right in your hand. If you're planning to refresh your kitchen drawer, this is the smartest place to start without spending much, and probably the easiest decision on this whole list. The simple rule smart shoppers always follow: check the ingredients and materials before you check the logo. Cheap doesn't mean low quality, it just means less money spent on advertising. These 12 items prove that clearly, right on the shelves you walk past every week. Have you switched to great value paper towels yet, or are you still paying almost double for the familiar box next to it?